Gentlemen, welcome to the Joe Show. I'm your host, Joseph Decker. It feels good to be back at home and getting back on here on the podcast. We've been busy this past few weeks with next up recruits and going on the road and doing some scout work and watching some of these guys. Man, one of our guys we'll have on the show today, Trey Thompson. We were locked in watching this weekend. He was a joy to watch in the Midwest Mania event. Our guy Travis Graff and Made Hoops puts on. It's an excellent event, man. It was really good to be there. We got a lot of more weekends filled. We've actually been talking about that recently, where we'll be going, where we'll be on the road. So make sure to check out our content, what we're putting on, not just on my main pages, but Next Up Recruits, a scouting page, and where we're at and where we're on the road. We'd love to check out everybody. One thing we really wanted to do this weekend was check out all the Kentucky kids we could, especially the Division I talent kids, the top names. We always like to check out everybody and see how they were playing. But it was a very good event for Kentucky kids. I've seen some of the lists and the names and the posts put out, and those guys are getting their love that they much very well deserve. This weekend we'll be in Bardstown watching Kentucky Basketball Club and their guys. We actually have Kentucky Basketball Clubs joining us today, program director, coach May Stallworth, and then player Gabe Weiss on the 17U team. That's going to be fun to talk about. Some people still not familiar with them. If you're in Kentucky, you're definitely familiar with them, but I definitely want to talk to these guys and ask them all about it. I want to thank you, everybody who's tuning in early here and getting things shared and liking the live. What's up, guys? Good to have y'all on here. But let's talk about our sponsors, man, because it's a new 5 weeks, so we have our sponsors on the show. 270 Rental is Jacob Howard in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Jacob Howard, they're actually really cool what they do. They rent things out, basically. It's tents, it's chairs, it's tables. They have these areas where you can host these events, and they're definitely going to be busy this 4th of July and summer season, but with it kind of getting more better weather, especially spring weather, they're going to be getting hit up a lot more. Laser It is Caleb Skaggs in Edmonson County, Kentucky. Caleb is back on the group this weekend. I love having Caleb on. He does some really cool work. He laser designs, cutting boards, hats, t-shirts. He does a little bit of everything. His hats are elite. We've had some merch done by them, so thank you, Caleb, for hopping on. CNA Plumbing is the best plumbing in Brownsville, Edmonson County, Kentucky, but they also extend out to the 3rd and the 4th region. That's Adam Coates, longtime supporter of the show. Tent Studios is actually the shirt I'm wearing today. I want to show some love to Henry Mendez and Tent Studios in Bowling Green, Kentucky. They do elite work, man, and I think Henry should be tuning into the show today. He even does works on houses, tinting house windows, but he does a lot of work on cars. He's done cyber trucks. He's done Corvettes. He's done a little bit of everything. And then B Spring Auto Body is my great friend, longtime friend, Arlen Blanton in Edmonson County, Kentucky, and B Spring, right before you get to the Grayson County line border. Longtime friend, supporter of the show. They do great auto body work. It's a really nice place down there. They do old cars, reparations. They do a little bit of everything, so it's really cool to have them back on. Clark Agritech Applicators might be the most interesting sponsor we have. That's Cooper Clark. He does some great work with drones, man, spraying, weed. He does a little bit of everything in the farm world, but he does it through a drone. It's really, really cool. He does a great job. Cooper's an under 20 guy, so he's still young doing his work. I love supporting other guys like that, so I really appreciate him coming on and sponsoring the show. Grayville Funeral Home, longtime supporter of the show, Roy Grayville, WKU superfan. Really glad to have him back on this next 5 weeks. Grayville Funeral Home in Edmonson County, Kentucky, honoring those we serve. That is right whenever you cross the bridge in Edmonson County, Kentucky, when you're going into Brownsville. And then last but certainly not least is our show sponsor, Detman Law Injury in Louisville, Kentucky. He does everything. He does slips, falls, getting hit. He does a little bit of everything as a lawyer. It's really fun to have him on as our show sponsor. Make sure you're always checking out our social media as we post about our sponsors and what they do a little more so you guys get a better understanding. And then our tech guy behind the scenes, Ronald Scott Lindsay. So I appreciate all of our sponsors. Thank you guys for making these past 5 weeks so much easier for me. And let's kind of get on to the show, guys. Our first guest today is Gabe Weiss, the top 150 kid in the country. Got some elite top high major offers. Kentucky guy from Washington County. A lot of people familiar with him. He went to Montverde this past season, had some success, played for Coach Boyle, played for those guys. They were another great year. Talk about a guy like Dante Allen, who just recently committed to Miami, filled with talent, one of the most prestigious high school programs. And then Coach May Stallworth is actually the program director for Kentucky Basketball Club, high school basketball coach. And I'm sure Gabe will talk about a little bit, a very good basketball trainer. And I just wanted to pick their brains a little bit, talk to them today, talk about Kentucky Basketball Club and things like that. We're going to welcome them on right now, Coach May Stallworth and Gabe Weiss. Guys, what's up, man? Welcome to the show.
What's up?
Thank you, Joseph. Thanks for having us on.
I'm really excited to talk to you all today. So, for the people, let's just kind of do a basic introductory for people who might not know what Kentucky Basketball Club is, Coach Mays. Kind of tell them what it is, the circuits you all play on, and what kind of makes y'all's group special.
Well, it's actually, it was generated from Central Kentucky Basketball Club, which I started this past year. It was primarily for my local area kids, fifth region kids, sixth region kids, because that's primarily eighth region kids, the schools and counties that kind of attach to Washington County where I live at. And that's what we kind of made it from that. And we had teams all the way from third grade all the way up, girls as well. And it started as that, but then this past year, obviously, how the recruiting landscape has changed. So we were always trying to find something circuit wise or anything to help our kids, be able to achieve with their goals. And right now with the whole recruiting process the way it is, transfer portal, you want to try to get on an elite circuit in order to get that chance to be seen and to get that exposure. So to be honest with you, we had a relationship with the guy who runs Puma, Matt Reynolds, prior relationship with that, and he was already looking at Gabe for some different things, different games, different teams, and be honest with you, I think Gabe kind of sold the deal when he played it. I think it's the City of the Palms. He had a good game versus I forgot their first game they played, who they played, but he happened to have a really good game in front of those guys who actually make those decisions. And that night, uh, you know, that blessing it happened to us that we got a phone call, and it happened to where we got put in the Pro 16 league, which is the elite circuit on the Puma circuit. Is one of the fastest growing, if not the fastest growing circuit in the nation. When it comes to when we look at Under Armour, EYBL, Adidas, this circuit is really, 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 um, you know, really, really blossoming as far as just getting that exposure out there. And if you see when they have tournaments each weekend, which they call it Next Pro events, these events you can see the media coverage is crazy. I mean, every time I'm scrolling down Twitter or Instagram, you see something of that nature of Next Pro, Pro 16. So just giving by an idea, the Puma has two different circuits. They have the Pro 16, which is the just like it would be EYBL and EYCL and like Adidas and Adidas Gold, just like UA and UA Rise. Pro 16 is the elite side of it. Next Pro, it is the second tier, but the thing is with the second tier part about it, they're all in the same gym. Our second tier teams play Pro 16 teams. So some people may look at it as second tier, but they get the same opportunities as the Pro 16 teams as long as they win and do what they're supposed to do. So it's a great opportunity on both sides. I know we have Kentuckiana Hoops and maybe Kentucky Future, who are all Puma circuit teams. I'm pretty sure, and I think they can all attest. The reason why they did this is because of those reasons. Because the next pro side gets as many opportunities as the Pro 16 side. So, and when you look at the Pro 16 side of it, at all levels, you see top elite players in those circuits. You see many top 100 4-star,
Yeah.
5-star guys in this circuit. So it's starting to really boom to where now this is becoming one of the top three circuits in the country, along with Adidas and NYBL. And I think it's surpassed when you talk about UA, when you talk about talent level. Having I think 3 or 4 McDonald Americans. They had 2 or 3 Nike Pro Summit guys. Like, I mean, you have the talent coming to the Pro 16, the Puma side of it, because of the talent level on all levels from 15, 16U and 17U. So, it's really boomed into something really nice to where now we have Central Kentucky Basketball Club that kind of factors more in my local kids and the regional games, things like that. And then we have our next pro West Kentucky Basketball Club that primarily more of the Hopkinsville, Owensboro, Madisonville, Paducah area kids that are getting a chance to play on, the next pro. Eventually, we plan to have Northern Kentucky Basketball Club, Eastern,
Yeah.
and have our Central Kentucky Basketball Club all play on the next pro, just because it gives everybody an opportunity. If they want to play college basketball, it gives you just that. So I think just I know I explained a lot there, but that gives you a lot in a nutshell of what we do.
Well, Coach, I think you kind of said everything right. Puma, without a doubt, has to be the most active growing one as we speak. You kind of seen the work they did last year. They had the number one center in the country, Chris Sinak, multiple other top guys, some Kentucky guys too, like a good friend of mine, Ty Price, played on the Puma circuit. Lawson Rice spent some time there. So, the Puma circuit's growing not just in Kentucky, but nationally wide. So I think you hit the nail on the head there. Coach, we got a guy with us today, Gabe Weiss, that, most people's familiar with. Most people know Gabe, but, you train, you work out with Gabe. You know Gabe better than almost anybody. Tell us a little bit about Gabe, who's going to be our guest here in a second and talk to us.
Well, he's a young man that I tell people all the time. I mean, he's helped me beyond more of just basketball. He's helped me change as a man and a person. Just being around a kid, if you know who he is and what he's about, people will say that same thing. I mean, that's just who he is. More than just the basketball part. That's just kind of a extra byproduct of what it is, the relationship that we've gained through the years. And I think it was maybe going into his eighth grade year, seventh grade. I forgot. I think that's what it was. He was. I do fundamental workouts at my gym here in Springfield, and it was just more just fundamental. It was not anything elite whatsoever. And Gabe would come to those, and just one day, I'm pretty sure I think it was in his seventh grade year. I mean, he was obviously long and athletic, and at this time, I was running Manimal Elite, and at that time, we also had a contract as well with Adidas during this particular time. And I remember like the same team, some of the same guys he's with now is the same guys he was with in seventh grade.
Yeah.
Like Xavier Cosby, some of those guys, he was with them. So I think it was I gave my buddy George Cosby a call, who was the coach of our Better Elite Manimal group, and I said, "Man, I got this kid down here. I'm telling you, I don't really know him much. At the time, I didn't know him much. I just know he was, athletic, had the look about him. And I said, man, just give him a shot. Let's see what he does." And I just remember like it was yesterday. He went down there and had a practice, and George called me and said, "Hey man, he gonna be all right. Sit him down. He gonna be all right." He said he gonna be all right. Let him stay. And I was like, cool. I was like, I didn't know how it was going to work. Didn't know, how we'd adapt to it, because at that time it was Jeremiah Jackson, Cole Elam. I mean, they had a loaded group down there with that squad. And I was just like, I was happy to do that. So from then on, I messaged his mom, and I still had those messages where I asked her, hey, I think we should start working out. I see something in Gabe. Let's start a workout. So that's what it started at, 2 times a week, and it became 3 times a week of us going at 5 a.m. It just going hard, going hard, and and all of a sudden you could just see it start to click, and then it translated into the game, and then from then on, I mean, he did his work, he put the work in. It wasn't, I don't do it. I mean, he's got to put it in, and he's Lord's blessed him with so many athletic abilities to where he's put it on the floor and done what he's done with it. So his work ethic is one of the reasons why he's at where he's at. Is not just something that was, that just happened. I mean, he's put in that work. So, I'm very proud of him where he's been. But he knows he has a lot more to go. He had a tournament this weekend. The first thing he's asking me on a Saturday night, when are we working it out? When's the schedule going? So, his work ethic is a byproduct of why he's done what he's done. So, as he keeps blossoming on, I think people are going to really, really see. Sometimes I get biased because I have seen what he can really, really, really do. And when he shows all that, I mean, it's special.
Well, Gabe, what's up, man? We're glad to have you on the show. I want to talk to you a little bit too. I know you and Coach Mays could probably sit here and we could talk about the training and the days all the time, but I want to really talk to you about Montverde recently this season where you were at playing, and kind of tell me about that experience, because I'm sure it's a lot different atmosphere than Washington County, but kind of tell me how it was playing there and playing for Coach Boyle and being on that high of of an atmosphere and an attention, because the looks that Montverde gets is genuinely one of none. It's the best. So kind of tell me about that experience at MVA.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was definitely a great experience, and definitely have no regrets about leaving and going to play down there for the season. I mean, there's a lot of ups and downs throughout the season. I mean, players coming in and out, and Coach Boyle ended up leaving at the end, which I mean, that is what it is. But I mean, it's definitely one of the better environments of basketball I've been around for sure. I mean, the time and effort that we put in preseason, I mean, during the season and practices before national tournament. I mean, so much went into everything that we did, and it was very intense. And I mean, I have nothing but good things to say about the school and the program. So I'm definitely glad I went for sure.
Well, Gabe, you're one of the highest recruited kids in the country for the 2026 class. Multiple high major offers. We got a few listed there. There's multiple other schools that I've not even really mentioned yet. But, Gabe, kind of tell us about your recruiting process a little bit and the schools that's talking to you and have offered you.
I mean, it's been a little slower here recently, just because I didn't play as much at Montverde. It was just more, which I kind of knew going in. I mean, just wanted to get down there and really get better and see what the experience was like, and kind of prepare me more for the college level. But I mean, the schools. I mean, Auburn has they've been in contact with me a lot more here recently, and LSU Coach Casey Long down there, he texted me a good little bit, and I mean, the old Indiana staff, they still text me a lot. I mean, I believe that God will put them in the right place wherever they need to be. So, uh, I mean, I've met some good people in the collegiate level, so hopefully can get some more relationships there.
Well, Gabe, I want to talk to you this weekend, man. You know, you got to play with Kentucky Basketball Club in your all's first tournament. You know, it's been a lot of fun getting to hear about you all. You know, the team you guys have put together, and you know, Gabe, being out there and playing around these guys, you know, it's different. So, kind of tell me about the roster you guys got on your 17U team and how this weekend was in Indianapolis.
I think it was a great first weekend for us. First time playing together. I mean, we haven't had too many practices, so I was pleased with how it went. And I mean, I feel like the roster for the Pro 16 level. I mean, I feel like we can win a lot of games. We've got some potential high major players on the team with DeMarcus, Surratt, and Jonathan Moss, and even more. And I think we have a great team, great chemistry, and I think it'll just continue to grow the more and more we play. So I'm looking forward to the summer for sure.
Well, Coach, you know, Gabe kind of speaks about that 17U roster and some of the guys on there that makes that team so special. But, Coach, I want to kind of give attention to all the teams. You know, I know you got a really good 16U team. Kind of talk to me a little bit about the guys on those rosters and what makes these group of guys you guys have special. What kind of led you to put some of these rosters together? Was it fit, just talent? What was
Well, a
some of
lot
it?
of it just going back to what we established when I first started Manimal Elite. That's with toughness, with guys who are gritty, guys who are play the basketball the right way, guys who are unselfish. Starting off with our 15U team, our head coach Josh Kays, assistant Greg Keon. Josh, he had a group last year as eighth grade group, primarily a lot of fifth region kids, and but Lord, and they played tough, man. They wouldn't wow you by just having 6'6", 6'7", 6'8" guys, but they wow you by with their skill level, and they play hard. I mean, he's really built a team on playing hard and playing together. The headline of that team, we got Bryce Vernon sitting at 6'4", Taylor County kid. You got Austin Sears. Austin's one of the hottest guards in the class of 2028. The kid can straight up get a bucket. I watched him this past weekend. And he can really play. David Levitch, he's got some going down there in North Oldham. He got Cooper Stone, kid at Greene County, one of the better freshmen as well. And he just overall, he's like Brandon Washington was out this past weekend, and another kid, I think it's going to really got a high ceiling is Shy Pointer at Barstown, 6'5". He's a kid that can really, really play. So he's got some really good kids and some kids that, got a chip on their shoulder, may not wow you with their name, the big names, but he's got kids that can win games. And this past weekend he went 3-1, lost to 3SSB group, KI Power 5 by two, I think, in overtime. So played well. And then you got our 16U group, our head coach Sean Hill, who's an assistant at Trinity, and his assistant John Balfour. So they had a good group too. He had a group like this primarily. A lot of these kids, chemistry wise, that he's had about last 2 or 3 years. So they're going to beat you on more chemistry and playing hard and playing together more than they're going to wow you again. Why just big names, big name here, big name. They got some kids who are going to sneak up on some coaches and get some notoriety. So when it talks about a lot of these kids, in our 16U, Amari Joyner, who's coming off an ACL tear, who's just a dog. I mean, that's just what
Yeah.
he is. I mean, he's just a flat out just dog. So I look for him to really come back and really get his name back going again. Obviously, Braxton Keithley averaging 35 points getting being scored in the state of Kentucky. Kid doesn't miss, when he's open, he just doesn't. He got hurt this past weekend, so that kind of hurt them as a team. This past weekend, he got big Wyatt Rickard from Carlisle County standing at 6'9". He's got a big high ceiling as well. The kid's gonna get only gonna get better. And then the kid I really think is gonna have a chance is a kid named Chris Armstrong from Spencer County, standing about 6'6". His older brother played for me for Central Kentucky last year, Jack Armstrong, and his kid. I mean, he's got a great frame, athletic, can shoot it, just knows how to play the right way. Another kid also on our 15-year-old I'm talking about is Jackson Strike, standing out
Yeah.
6'8". He's a guy that as a freshman they are loaded class down there at Male, loaded class
Yeah.
now. He's a guy who's going to be one of those late bloomers, staying at 6'8", probably going to get a little bit taller, only going to get better, only going to get stronger. So I love our groups all the way top to bottom. But again, it's groups that play hard. That's the main thing, and play unselfish. That's our biggest message across the board, because right now with the recruiting landscape the way it is, guys want winners. Guys are trying to win right now. Coaches are want to win, and that's when we're preaching across is that winning matters, playing hard to win, and that's what's important. Like these guys getting better when they leave their high school coaches and come back, in the summer, knowing that they got better from playing what we do. And like I said, I'm really excited about these groups, and I think at the Pro 16 level, I think we have top 8 groups at all 3 levels.
Yeah. Nah, Coach, I 100% agree with you. We've talked about this team and what kind of makes this roster special. We could probably sit here for an hour and talk about each one of these guys, but, there's just so many good talents here. But one thing I want to talk to you a little bit about, Coach, is that this weekend you guys kind of got a closer to home event. You don't have to travel as far with it being in Bardstown. I want you to kind of talk about that event a little bit and where we can catch you all and who will be playing at that event.
Well, all of our affiliated teams in West Kentucky Basketball Club, Central, and Kentucky Basketball Club all will be playing. We do this sort of like a showcase for our groups. I'll be emceeing and saying and calling out, announcing names and rosters for parents, and it's just something that we can do for our teams to get a chance to play against each other. A little fun, atmosphere in front of our home crowd, because especially our 17U group, or actually all our high school groups, they don't get that chance. When we start Pro 16 tournaments, I mean, we're out. I mean, we're traveling. We won't get a chance to play in the state of Kentucky again. So this is the one chance that we get to show our fans and family members, the talent level we have with this group, and just come together for one weekend. A lot of pictures and all those things, a lot of fellowship. So you'll see our groups all the way from third grade all the way up. My local groups, Central Kentucky Basketball Club, that features a lot of my fifth region kids, a lot of my Thomas Nelson kids that are on that group. So you'll get to see everybody from all levels, girls and boys. So it'll be a great atmosphere. I think. I know you guys are coming out. I know Pro Insight's coming. KY Sports TV is coming. I think Travis Grab's going to come to our practice session on Friday. So it's a good weekend for our guys to get out there and be together, because we haven't had a chance for all 3 of our groups to practice together. So this will be a good chance to get up and down and get a good sweat.
Of course, Coach Mays. Gabe, I know it's going to be pretty cool for you. It's like, honestly, a reunion in a way. You haven't played in Kentucky since your Washington County 2 years ago. So how's it going to feel, Gabe, to finally be able to play back in the Bluegrass State, and, especially for a team like Kentucky Basketball Club you're repping?
Yeah, for sure. It'll be a good homecoming event, just to get to play in front of the Kentucky crowd and just be close to home. And that way, not a lot of my family gets to watch me anymore. I'm always on the road or too far from home. So I think it'll be good just for them to get to watch me in person.
Coach Mays, we've kind of got to talk about what Kentucky Basketball Club is, why these guys are put together. We talked about the upcoming event this weekend, which is going to be a lot of fun. Definitely excited to check out too. But, there's a lot of people who know Coach Mays Stallworth, maybe for Kentucky Basketball Club, but I know you're also head coach at Thomas More a little bit. Talk about your guys at Thomas Nelson. Excuse me about that. Talk to me a little bit about your guys' season this year and, what you do at the high school level.
This is going on my 10th year as a head high school coach. I've had the pleasure of playing at Rep Arena once as a coach at Taylor County.
Yeah.
So I love it in a sense to where, high school basketball is way different than AAU, just because the community feel for it, the school, the student sections, all those things that you get from being a high school coach and high school player. Those things I live for them. I love them. And the atmosphere I'm in at Thomas Nelson, I love it. I mean, they brought the passion and fire back to me for being a head coach. It's the chemistry I have with those kids, the culture that we're building each and every day in that school system is great. We this past year, I think we had, I forgot, either 10 or 12 wins. I forgot what we had, but we end up, at the end of the season, we finished the right way. We ended up losing a heartbreaker to Bardstown on the last possession. But our kids fought. It was one of those things that all year long we wanted to get over the hump of just trying to be successful, getting a successful culture and atmosphere, and I think we did that. So going on to year 2, I'm very excited. I think we have, I returned my leading scorer, and I look for a chance for us to have a chance to get to the region. It'll be tough. We got a tough district, but it's fun. I love the fifth region. I'm a fifth region guy. So I think this coming up past year, it was a very tough region. This coming year, it looks to be the same kind of top heavy. Caverna is going to be Caverna. Taylor County is going to be Taylor County. But like I said, it's a good region that I love, that is competitive. Obviously, from top to bottom, anybody can win it. So, I look for my kids in Thomas Nelson, who also will be playing, for my Central Kentucky basketball club. So those kids will keep getting better and keep getting better. So again, I think it's gonna be a fun year, and I look forward to it.
Of course, Coach, and I won't hold you guys too much longer, but Coach, if there's anything else you want to leave off here today for the people tuning in, listening about Kentucky Basketball Club, Gabe, if you have anything you want to leave off, one thing I want to say is that I've had a lot of coaches on here before, but there's not as many who have the swag or, kind of the dress that Coach Mays has. The first picture he sends me in the suit, I say, is that a one-time thing, or are you a suit type of coach? Coach, why do you wear suits still? Because a lot of people, I'm not trying to throw any shade, but they've gotten a little lazier with the outfits. Coach, tell me about the suits.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I was a graduate assistant for a year after I got done playing with Donnie Tyndall at Morehead State, and I'll be honest with you, I thought it was the craziest thing wearing suits, and we wore them every game. And that was 33, 34 ball games. We wore suits every game, and I think it's just professional look, man. For me, I got into that COVID atmosphere to where everybody was wearing jumpsuits or whatnot, but even my wife said, the culture we're building at Thomas Nelson, that's what we do. It's a first class atmosphere. When you go in the school system, you see that in the school teachers with, it's just the atmosphere we're in. It's the culture we built. So I think, for me, I love it. You still see guys like James Hare and Paul Churchill still wearing suits in our region, because those are old school guys is what you do, and
Yeah.
I'm a big James Hare fan. So yeah, I'll always be that guy. I get joked on by some of my counterparts. One of my coaches, Stevie Woods, every time I see him, man, you always got to wear a suit. Well, that's just the culture we in, at Thomas Nelson. So man, yeah, I'll never change that.
Well, Coach Mays, it's been a lot of fun talking to you today. I want to let Gabe leave us off with something here. Gabe, a lot of Kentucky fans tuning in here, not just, high school fans, big fans of Gabe Weiss. They've not got to see you in a while. Hopefully we'll be tuning in this weekend, whether if they're watching or attending the event. Gabe, leave these Kentucky fans off with something, and fans here and listen to you all talk today.
No, I mean, I hope to see everybody out there. I think it'll be a fun event just to get to see everybody, get to play with the team a little bit more before it gets really serious on the Pro 16 circuit. But, I hope to see everyone out there. It'll be fun, so I appreciate it.
Coach Mays, Gabe, I know this won't be the last time we have you all on. I appreciate you all hopping on. Unless you all's got something else you guys want to leave us off with. Thanks for coming on.
No, sir. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Joseph. Go Generals.
Appreciate you, man. We'll talk to you again soon. That was Coach May Stallworth and Gabe Weiss of Kentucky Basketball Club. I'm really happy those guys hopped on here tonight. They got to talk to us a little bit about the AAU scene and the circuit they're playing on. And I had to talk to Coach Mays a little bit about, his outfits and, the things he does at Thomas Nelson. He's a really good coach, has a lot of history, about his time at Taylor County. He mentioned playing at Rupp Arena and the KSSA Sweet 16. So really good to have those guys on here today. Really enjoyed talking to them today. But our next guest is gotta be. He's ranked by Made Hoops at number 24. He's one of the top 2026 players in the country, anywhere. He's from Greenville, Tennessee. We usually try to keep things Kentucky, but, with it being AAU season, we're going to branch out, talk to a lot of other guys and talents around the country. But Trey Thompson there's been a lot of players, a lot of AAU kids who's getting their name out there. But in these past 2 weeks, I don't know if there's anybody who's caught the global spotlight that Trey Thompson has been getting, with the visits he's been on, the offers he has already, and just the way he's playing. He had one of the best and one dunks I think I've ever seen in my life this weekend in Ohio. So it was really fun watching Trey. He's got a great all-around game, surefire high major kid. And we're going to welcome Trey Thompson onto the show. Trey, what's up, man? How you been?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's like I just seen you, man, about 2 or 3 days ago. But this weekend was a lot of fun in Hamilton, Ohio, Trey. And, just the week before you guys were playing in Tennessee, which I know is pretty fire for you being from Tennessee. But, I think I kind of said it, these past 2 weeks for you have been huge, getting your name out there in front of a lot of social media, a lot of recruits and rankings, getting to see who Trey Thompson is. And then, you got a group like Made Hoops who really promotes you super well. So how have these past 2 weeks been, Trey? And tell me about it.
They've been a great past 2 weeks. Our team for Tennessee Impact has done a wonderful job. Alex Leith for us has been playing excellent basketball. Justin Nordine, Jonathan Woodley, Braden. I'm proud of all the guys. They've really elevated their games, and you can really tell they put in the work these past 2 weekends. And playing in Memphis and then playing in Hamilton, Ohio, in the Made Hoops events has been awesome. Travis Graff and the guys at Made Hoops have done a wonderful job with all the exposure they've put on for us and getting our names out there, the social media, and putting us up against the best competition that they can offer. And we're very thankful and blessed that they give us that opportunity. And it's a great opportunity for me to get better as well.
Well, Trey, you mentioned Kentucky, but you've been in Kentucky recently. We got a lot of Louisville fans tuning into today's show. And, you were just recently on a visit, getting to see the coaches and being around that atmosphere. Talk to me a little bit about your visit at Louisville and, some of the things you got to see and how you enjoyed it.
So Coach Hamilton, Ronnie Hamilton, is the guy that I've been talking to the most. The rest of the coaching staff was out that day because I wanted to meet Coach Kelsey, but he's a great coach, a great guy as well. But yeah, it was a great visit, great town. I don't know, there were some flooding issues there when I was there, but other than that, it was a great visit. Coach Hamilton and their program is just a great program. Their practice facilities were awesome, and I didn't get to go see the KFC Center, but there's a volleyball tournament game or something going on. But he took me to the football stadium. We watched a little bit of like a spring game, and that was an awesome atmosphere, even if it was just a spring game. And I like how convenient it was having all the practice facility, the nutrition area, the training area, all in one, and then the dorms right across the street. Definitely checked the box for my mother.
No, that's super cool. The facilities and the things that's at Louisville is truly top notch. It's a great place. It's a great spot. The flooding, we had a little bit of flooding here in Kentucky these past few weeks. I know a lot of people still recovering from that. But let's talk a little more about the recruiting process, Trey. It's definitely not slowing down for you at all, but it's not like it's just starting either. You had multiple other high major offers before these past two weeks of AAU, and before that, one being, your home state, Tennessee, and another one being high major, Purdue. Tell me about some of the other schools that have offered you and shown interest.
Another school that has offered me is Xavier, but both of their coaches left. Coach Miller and Coach Cohen, they went to Texas, and they've been busy trying to put a team together and getting their family down there as well. But I've been talking to LSU as well with Coach Kane, and then Michigan as well with Coach Williamson. Great people. I've talked to Clemson as well. Just great people to be around. And here lately, obviously, Louisville and Kentucky have talked to me a little bit, and Tennessee actually came down today and visited me at school today. Coach Lentz. We're trying to schedule an official visit there, but it's been a great opportunity, and I'm really thankful to meet all these coaches. And it's just awesome to meet these people and maybe go see their campuses, and just building a connection with them is just something unique for sure.
For sure. You mentioned, you're running with Tennessee Impact right now in AAU, and, it's been really successful for you all. You guys are winning some big time games, really getting to put your name out there a little bit. What made you pick Tennessee Impact? Was it you, kind of staying in the Tennessee roots and, playing with your group of guys? And then once you answer that, I want to ask you, to talk about some of the guys on your team, because you mentioned Alex, who's a very good basketball player. Really interesting to see him this week. Oh,
yeah. So I've been playing for this team for 4 years now, and I've obviously had the opportunity to go play for Pro 16, the Puma kid, and some EYBL teams like CP3, other that is. I don't know why I keep going out. I'm my fault on that. But I've just together. I'm not hating on anybody else. I'm sure they do as well. But I don't think it's going to be tough to find a team and want it more than anybody else than this team right here. We're not the most athletic team. We're not the team that's going to shoot the lights out every single time, but I can promise you that we want it more than anybody else out there. We want to win basketball games and together, and not, I want 20 points and I want to be the main guy of the show. We have multiple guys scoring in double figures. We want to win at the end of the day, and we have a bunch of willing to sacrifice their bodies and go to that extra mile just to be successful in that. And the coaching staff at Tennessee Impact has done nothing but great things for me. Before going to Tennessee Impact, I had a good time with other AAU programs, but Tennessee Impact has really elevated it to a next level by getting me in contact with coaches that I haven't normally been on to, and also contacting Travis Graff at Made Hoops and getting on the 3SSB circuit, really exposing my weaknesses and trying to get me better every single week.
Now, for sure, Trey, I think you say it perfectly. Trey, you're 2026, so you guys are coming up as seniors. Obviously, it's not commitment time. It might be for some, but that's a little early. But, with all these schools talking to you and all these coaches, Trey's got to have something that he likes the most. Trey, when you make that decision, where you want to play college basketball, what are some of the things that you're looking at most as a recruit? What's some things you want to have in a school that'll ultimately kind of make your decision?
So in my opinion, every school is going to have the bells and whistles when it comes to, this nice facility, this nice court, the fan base, and all that stuff. They're all going to have that. They're going to have a great coaching staff. But I feel like the most important things to me is I want to go to a university that wants me as bad as I want them. And I want a university that's going to be honest and straight up with me and not promising me anything. I want to work for it, and I want to build a family type atmosphere. I really want to go to a school where I can stay there for 4 years and develop, or if anything else happens, like the NBA draft or something else happens, then I would obviously declare for that. But I want to stay in a program for 4 years and really develop, and have another family outside of my own here in Greenville, Tennessee. And I feel like whatever college I choose, I'm going to be looking for building a relationship off of honesty and trustworthy with other players and coaches. And I just want to play and develop at a college for sure.
For sure, Trey, we'll be getting to see you again April 25th and 27th. I think that through the 25th through the 27th, it might be 26th, 27th. But with your guys' next AAU tournament, I know you guys are off this weekend, so you get a little bit of rest. But for those that's wanting to see Trey Thompson, for those that's wanting to watch Tennessee Impact and watch where you guys are on the road to next, can you tell us about a few of your guys' upcoming visits on AAU circuits and where you guys will be playing?
So we got Bryan, Texas coming up. It's a 3SSB event, and I also know we're going to Iowa, and then that 25th through 27th will be in Louisville, Kentucky. So that'll be another great opportunity. But these are just the best events out there, in my opinion. The shoe circuits, like Coach said earlier, they're the best of the best. The exposure, the social media, they're really gonna. I feel like if you play together and play as a team, you're going to win a lot of basketball games. The best thing about AAU basketball for me is the connections you build with one another and other coaches, and also exposing your weaknesses. I play AAU basketball to play against the best of the best and learn something from it. So going into next year through school ball and then wherever college I go to, I can take those lessons I learned from AAU and put them into my game later on. My dad's always been on to me about, showing growth every single year and showing potential that you have room to grow every single year. And I think that's important, especially on going to a next level like Division I.
Well, Trey, for sure. I mean, you mentioned your dad a little bit, and I got to talk to your dad this weekend. It seems like your dad might be the biggest Trey Thompson fan out there. Him in the stands, recording every game. He was super excited to watch you play. Tell me about the Greenville community you guys have around you all and how they've kind of supported you and your teams and, you traveling and playing. And, it's always good to have that fan base and that at-home support, to kind of root you on and, help push you. How's it been in Greenville with those guys? You mentioned earlier, I want you to speak about this too here in a minute, Jacoby Gillespie, another high major kid who's playing at the next level from Greenville. How does that community receive having these high major talents and, promoting them and being by your side?
The Greenville community has been great. Just tonight, I went out to my local Chick-fil-A and people noticed me and I took pictures with them. It's awesome, man. It's great to have support at every home game, especially in the playoffs. It's a big time advantage because when you have people yelling and screaming and cheering us on, it's such a competitive advantage because everything gets so confusing and loud and for the other team, and it's hard to cooperate for them. But it also helps us because we boost off their energy as well. So after we get like a dunk or a steal in transition, you hear the whole crowd going crazy, and it's just awesome. Our students are a great, atmosphere to be about, and the sports in Greenville has just been top tier for many years now. And honestly, the biggest support that I've had is my family. Like you said, my dad hasn't missed a game, and he works his tail off every single week. I haven't even seen him today. He's been working all day long, but he hasn't missed a game, and I don't know how long. It's just something special. And my mom, too, she does a lot of behind-the-scene works. She's making sure I'm eating the right things, always making sure I'm ready for this upcoming weekend, getting anything I need. Helping out with my laundry is a big one for sure. But and my whole family comes to our games. Like I have great aunts, great uncles, cousins from both sides. My dad's mother that lives in Alabama drives up to our game sometimes. My family plays a huge role. My brother is always helping me get shots up in a gym, rebounding for me. So my family's been a huge part of it, and I'm just so thankful for everything about it. And then going off of Jacoby Gillespie, I didn't have a chance to play with him. I was an 8th grader and he was a senior in high school. But growing up watching him and another guy named Reed Satterfield, it was something really important because they're great basketball players. They played basketball the right way. They actually brought home 2 back-to-back state championships to Greenville, our only state championships in Greenville basketball history. And I got to grow up watching that. So that was awesome. And then the Greenville community has always been, helping out Jacoby any way they can, watching him whenever they can. When he was at Belmont in Maryland, and we're glad he's back home in Tennessee, so we can, maybe catch a few of his games. But it's a big family here, and that's why I didn't want to move or go anywhere else this year because this is just a huge family, and I love being a part of it.
Well, Trey, man, it's been a phenomenal last 10, 15 minutes getting to talk to you, man, and check in with you, not just about your recruitment, but I know a lot of people always want to ask, how's your recruitment? How's this? But I wanted to talk about some other things like Greenville, your family, getting to experience this stuff, playing in these tournaments. So, Trey, I've really appreciated having you on tonight, man. I know we'll talk again here soon. I know I'll see you in Louisville in about 2 weeks. So, Trey, man, I really appreciate you coming on tonight. Like I said, we'll talk again soon. Is there anything you want to leave off? Because I know there's a lot of people tuning in to listen to Trey Thompson tonight, and I'm sure your family's tuning in.
Oh, they're for sure tuning in. I think my mom's right outside my door listening right now. Biggest supporters for sure. But I'm really blessed and thankful for the opportunity to be on here, and I really do appreciate you having me on here. Seriously.
Of course, Trey. Of course, man. We'll have you on again soon. I'm excited to see you again in 2 weeks, man. You stay safe. God bless, man. See you. That was Trey Thompson of Greenville, Tennessee, but also playing with Tennessee Impact, one of the top recruits in the country. High major offers galore. He's a super talented player. Energy is a big-time word to describe Trey Thompson. Me and my friend Hayden Sheldon were joking around. This guy is one of the best playmaking bigs we've seen, in the country, and he's just always all about team. You get to see these guys a lot of times praise their teammates before themselves. I wanted to talk about Trey, but first question, we're talking about his teammates, so I really admire that and respect that. Trey Thompson's coming off a visit from Louisville, and Kentucky's been in contact. So for our Kentucky fans out there, that's super cool to see. Make sure you're in contact with Trey and following him around his journey. Coach May Stallworth and Gabe Weiss tuned into the show earlier today. I'm super glad they got to talk about Kentucky Basketball Club. Gabe got to address Kentucky, where he's been out this past year at Montverde. And it was just super good to have that happen. We'll be in the gym for them this weekend in Bardstown, watching their team and seeing what they've got going on. They've got really talented rosters at all levels. So I'm really excited to cover them and see what they've got going on. Tonight was a little bit of a show that we put together recently, so sorry, not as many questions. Sorry, it kind of went by quicker than normal. We'll be coming at you all again this weekend, likely, or through the week. With AAU on the weekends, it's harder to do weekend shows. But I, once again, really appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. It wasn't the craziest promoted. We really just started getting posts out tonight, but you guys tuned in and you guys showed out and you guys supported, so I really appreciate it. Make sure to share the live. Make sure to leave an interaction, a like, a heart, anything. If you're on Facebook, a share on Twitter would be very time. Appreciate it. And let's continue to grow our YouTube channel. I don't check YouTube as much, but I've seen it's doing pretty good and it's getting some positive feedback. So I really appreciate everybody tuning into the show tonight. Next show will be with even better. It'll be even better on my end. We'll have all the other great guests and, it'll be a lot of fun. I appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. Once again, let's thank our sponsors, 270 Rentals, Laser It, CNA Plumbing, Tent Studios, B Spring Auto Body, Clark Agritech, Abricators, Grable Funeral Home, Devin Law Injury Lawyer, and our behind the scenes guy, the best, Ronald Scott Lindsay. So I want to thank everybody again for tuning in. Thank you to our sponsors, they who make it possible. Thank you, Gabe, Mays, and Trey for hopping on the show tonight. You guys be safe. God bless.